I'm already mad about my sinuses. This is terrible, and it's just going to be a lot of work clearing up my sinuses in the editing process. We're gonna edit it out in post. I don't know how many people it's clear though. When we're sniffing, it means we have emotional needs that aren't being met. When we're It's like the snot is like our need for attention. It's
Hmm.
like, oh, I guess I'll suck that up if you're not going to. Yeah.
I
I
guess
mean, I'm just over here, I guess, just breathing. That's all I'm
I'm
up to.
fine. I'm just
Yeah.
fine.
Oh, yeah, you're fine. Well, because I'm fine if anyone cares.
Left for dead,
Yeah.
but I'm
Yeah.
fine.
And I don't care.
Well, I don't care,
Yeah. No.
but I'm fine.
I mean, nobody cares. That's the thing,
I can't
right?
do it. It's like one
I
little
know.
hair goes up and touches my brain. I can't do it.
And it like stimulates the part of your brain that makes like spam taste good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh
oh,
God,
oh.
yes. Spam and eggs, spam Getty.
It's got a nice texture.
I cut it pretty thin. I would say super thin, but it's not like deli meat thin. I cut it pretty thin, fry the absolute bejesus out of it, and it's kind of like cafeteria lunch bacon.
Like I'm not upset about anything at all. Why would I be? What?
Just
Why would anyone care?
wish I could
It
hear
was.
things.
Yeah. Just it would be kind of cool. Like 2 days after our last recording session, a story happened that was just fun enough that I really wanted to share it with James. And then we didn't talk for such a long time. And now I've told the story a few times, and now it's not so fresh. And look at how much pain he's in right now.
I forgot to tell you that I was in Manhattan. I am
uh,
sorry. I do
oh no,
I am
it's
wholeheartedly apologizing.
well, thanks,
I'm not
buddy.
just apologizing to move on. I do feel the sting of letting you down.
Well, I'm glad you're apologizing. The thing
I just
that's
popped my
that's
ear sniffing so hard.
ugh. Oh, I love that. You ever plug and blow?
Yes, on planes,
Plugandblow.com.
planes mostly. And you
Ooh,
hear like you can go a step farther and plug one ear
mm.
and do it and focus all of your energies into one canal.
Oh my God, this is some prana work.
Careful, because it's a
Wait,
lot
like
of pressure.
okay, plug the entire nose in one ear canal and then blow. Oh,
Ooh,
ooh, wow. I've been a little switched down lately, which is harder. It's hard for me to share that, you know.
why?
Uh, well, because
It's
this is
just
my
you, me,
yeah.
and 40 other people.
I know, but it's this I'm just kind of commenting, again, there's that pressure when you're on a platform to be like an authority or something, and I wish that every time I came here I could say, yeah, like everything's awesome, the Switch is up. So and sometimes it isn't, and it's important to kind of be honest about that.
It's because
I
we're
I
human.
yeah, I am in therapy, and when we talk about the Switch and
Oh, really?
that I that for some reason I don't know what it is about this therapist. I rant at her. I rant real good, and I'm surprised. I'm like, wow, look, I'm really steamrolling you. Is this good? Do you want this? I don't know.
I don't know.
They
Is
just
that what
they
you
kind of
think I
sit
want?
there. They know if they just sit there and look at me and just wait for me to kind of go.
You're gonna
Yeah.
donate some information.
Oh, I'm gonna get increasingly riled up because that ambiguity is just the medicine. That's what you need. But yeah, there are times where I don't feel as motivated or as meaningful or as empowered. Sometimes it doesn't feel like you're as on fire. You're
Hmm.
100%.
Hmm.
And that's just fine, you know? Yeah, that's just okay. That's fine. Oh, it's fine. It's
That'll be
fine.
fine.
Yeah, it's a fine thing. Quite fine. Fine materials. When I wanted to start talking third tier because I was like in a state place and I was like having cosmic moments and I was like, okay, I just recorded a session and I was like, okay, cool. I kind of hit it. I hit the timing right. Now it's like I've been recording stuff without that energy and it's interesting to kind of see the contrast, like while I'm editing when switches up
Oh,
versus
right.
switches down. It's weird. You can't really put your finger on what the difference is. It is fire. It's intuitive. It's like when it seems like it's working, it does seem like it's working
Hmm.
internally and externally.
Does your therapist write things down?
I think she writes down after. I don't, as far
Okay.
as I know, I don't see her sitting. Yeah, I'm more
I've
likely to
had
be
one
writing
that writes
things.
things down, and it's like you'll be
Hmm.
venting
Oh,
downloading a bunch of information, and they don't write for like 15
yeah.
minutes, and then like, oh shit.
You started writing when I said something awkward. You weren't writing that whole time I was giving you details that you're going to need to know later.
Right. You wrote the part that like is filler to get to the next part.
Hey,
Okay.
give me
All
your
right.
notebook. I'll fix
All right.
this. Like,
All right. Okay. And it just says milk, eggs. I'm just writing down the ingredients for a cake.
so I get up and, as I do, and when I get up, I generally the routine was I let the chickens out, and while they're out doing their business, I come like a bandit
Doing
in the
chicken
night.
things.
I come in there and I pop open the lid and I reach in and they lay their eggs in a variety of places. Sometimes they lay up in the little cubby. They like to be creative with where their eggs go. And generally there's like 1 to 0 to 3. So
They
it's
are sort of geriatric-ish
yep.
chickens, aren't they? So
Yeah,
is
yeah.
it like a geriatric human where like, oh, I gotta go right now.
Yeah, yeah, that does have sometimes there'll be like one in there and like they'll hear me coming and get excited. They're because they're like disrupting their body, like forcing an egg out real quick. Uh yeah, and
Hold on a second, I gotta go take an egg.
sometimes they'll lay one that's like too big. It's just
Okay.
like way too like how did that work? Sometimes the shell will be like Hiroshima, like the shell like when you touch it, your finger just like goes through a layer of goo and then the whole thing explodes. And sometimes they just don't lay. Sometimes there'll be like 3 days where there aren't any eggs.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I guess that was it.
You're
And
producing
they
something that's like 2% your body size. Like I'm gonna need a break.
I go in there and I pop open the box and something feels wrong, but
Hmm.
I reach in for the egg and there's a motion and I get startled and I look and there are two fluffy pink lips pointed directly at my eyes and surrounding that is a tuft of bristly white and black hair. So and it's shaking around. So I'm like, oh, what is that? Like a fucking there's an animal. Okay, whoa. So I have to hold up the lid and I'm reaching in there and my hand's going toward like thrashes
Hmm.
and it is a skunk straight up pointing its musk gland at my eyes. And I'm looking directly into it. It's
Yeah.
delicious, fluffy pink lips,
Uh-huh.
and it's just kind of shaking. It's just shaking its tushy at me, and I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, well, ha, why are you not spraying me? This is it. This is when you get sprayed by a skunk. This is the
Yeah.
exact situation. I'm looking directly at you. I'm threatening you.
You've
I'm a
startled it.
millimeter
Yeah.
away, and I didn't smell a thing, and nothing happened. So I realized that this is a skunk of some sort, and I close the lid and I run off. And for the next, I didn't realize how much of a problem this is because I can't get the chickens back in there without getting the skunk out first.
Hmm.
And the skunk's not going nowhere. It's
No.
like burrowed in there. And anything I do, it'll probably spray me. So I'm like trapped in this situation for several hours with no help. I'm like sitting there with the hose, like spraying it, and it doesn't do anything. It doesn't care. It's like I can just straight up pelt it with water. It doesn't matter. I'm like hitting it with things. It just sits there. It scrambles around a little bit. Every time I like open it, I'm subjecting my like.
Yeah.
That's when you
Y-
do get sprayed, and you're like, oh, why didn't I just stop when I was ahead? Through this entire ordeal, it didn't spray ever once. So I'm assuming it was too young, or I don't know, maybe it just never like figured out how to spray or something.
I don't
But
know.
it, I'll show you a video of the skunk so you can see. I'm guessing it's a juvenile. It's not quite of age. Hey. So when my dad gets home, I'm like, okay, I have this skunk cornered in the chicken cage. The chicken cage is open. The skunk won't leave. I can't put the chickens back until the skunk is gone. And he's just like, he goes out there with a net and he puts the net on it.
Let me get my skunk net.
Yeah, he's got it. And so he gets it out of there and he's got it under a net and they're like looking at each other and it's running around and he's kind of carting it around with this net. And I'm just sitting, I'm like, you guys are idiots. Why is it not spraying you? Why is it
Everyone
not
here is
spray?
an idiot.
Yeah. Like this is the situation. Like it can spray you. Why would it not? That's the only thing it does. I'm like, is it possible that this skunk doesn't recognize us as a threat because we're like the providers of these eggs in the situation? And it's like, okay, well, they haven't hurt me yet. Like nothing that these beings have done has hurt me. It's just scary. I'm just gonna walk right up. I'm gonna cover you up so you don't have to be in the sun. It's okay. It's just fine. We'll give you more kitty treats too. I don't buy it. I would think
I'm
they
not
would just
buying it.
spray
I'm not.
haphazardly,
Yeah, I'm not
right?
buying it.
Yeah. And so it's probably just
Yeah, you're
incapable.
okay, buddy.
If I'm a
But
skunk, I'm spraying the fucking wind. I don't care. I'm always
I
spraying.
know that's all you got. Like, why not? You're a skunk ass skunk. So then he lifted the net just to see what happened and it ran and there was like a clearance like this big in the
Mhm.
wire of the cage. And he climbed through until his back hips were stuck and he was just like wiener dog, like stuck in it, trying to like shimmy out. And we were sitting there cracking up. Again, no spray. And after about like a minute of that, he finally did like sidle through like by turning his hips sideways
Mhm.
and he ran off. And so, okay, got the chickens back and everything. We knew that for the next couple of days he was still like lurking around
Yeah,
the
yeah.
the shop.
His
They know.
continental breakfast in there.
Yeah. So, okay, this is going to be an ongoing problem. So the dog would kind of smoke out where he was. The dog would go and like prance around, and we'd be like, hey, get out of there. So we knew he was kind of hiding under this wood pile. We put a live trap out there, put a bunch of cat treats in it,
Mhm.
and he would go and eat the treats and get out without messing up, without getting caught. That happened a few times. So finally, after like 3 or 4 days of that, I know I've got it in the trap. And again, we're in that situation. This thing,
You're gonna get sprayed now.
it's wire. Yeah, it'll
Yeah,
if I agitate
spray
it and
time.
it could spray, it'll spray me. We caught a skunky buddy. Hello. I bet she would love to get out of the sun. Hi there.
His likes kitty treats, huh?
It the whole time it didn't spray me. I pick up the cage, I'm like looking at him, and I put him in my car. I cover the thing up so it can't get in my car. I drive it like maybe 4 miles away up and I find a campground.
All right, my sweet little bear friend, my little baby bear friend, I believe I've found a place. Is uninhabited by man outside of their range. I can offer you no further aid or succor. And I do not know how to open this thing.
And then I'm out there and I'm with the cage. I'm trying to you have to like hold two things at once to open the cage. And
Yeah.
then you have to kind of hold it open. I could probably use rigging or something. Ultimately, I was really exposing myself. Like if it wanted to bite me or something, it very well could have because I'm just like holding open the cage and it's just lurking in the corner. And I have the whole thing upside down and I'm like shaking it and it's just clinging to the edges in there. And then finally it just bolts off into the woods. Yeah, you did it. Bye. Bye. Love you. At no point in this whole ordeal was I sprayed by a skunk. Or anyone. It was so weird because the whole
Or
thing
yeah, like you weren't sprayed by a skunk and no one else sprayed you either.
I because every time a dog finds a skunk, it'll like probably put its face up there really intense, and then the skunk will spray it. I'm just suggesting the possibility
All
that
right.
like if you just
All
walk
right.
up to a skunk, all
Couldn't
like
it be possible?
maybe it like they just don't really. If you walk up and you're just like, "Hi, I'm a person. You're a skunk." Like, hello. They like kind of won't go into that mode because they don't recognize you as anything. I think that's wrong, but it might not be. I don't know.
I have been startled and startled skunks before. Like I've
Okay.
walked up on them, they knew I was coming and I didn't know it was there. And same vice versa. I've been sitting in the woods and a skunk comes up like I also have never been sprayed.
And they do like the
They,
hedgehog thing, right? They like ball up and they kind of hiss at you and shit, like
yeah,
they're
maybe
gonna
they just
spray.
don't spray as much as cartoons have told us. I don't know. I'm
And
no
maybe
authority.
because it's always dogs, the dog does a thing that's really threatening to it because it's like coming at you with a mouth. Like maybe it wasn't going to bite you, but it looks like it's just straight up coming to
Burying
snatch you
teeth.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I
a
don't know.
human coming at you like, what's this It's like a moose near you. It's like
Yeah. What's this slow, stupid creature without
lumbering,
talons?
walnut-brained lumbering lizard thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nevertheless, for the entire like 2 week period following, it didn't spray, but they have a general essence
Yeah, there's
that
a
I find
musk.
pleasant. I actually like the smell. It's a mild kind of, it's just a nice little, it's like licorice or something where it's not quite delicious,
Hmm.
but it's a nice smell. So all of my clothes like have a little bit, and my car and everything, and all my like space had just a touch, just an essence of it. And it has this weird like permutability where there's in a tiny amount of it is an endless ability to transfer it to other shit.
Yes.
Like everywhere I go, I'm like at a gas station and I'm like looking down and everyone's just like, what is that? You guys, what is
Did you
that?
get sprayed and you just experienced olfactory fatigue immediately?
Yeah, like maybe I just have that bad of a sense of smell that like, and that's true of my dad. He like couldn't smell it at all. And everyone's like, you smell that? And he's just like, what is he, are you smelling it again? I smell it. The skunk smell, when a skunk got hit by a car and you're like far away, that's more intense than any of this.
Yeah.
When you're
That
just
smells like
driving,
a
like,
combo of like weed and beef jerky.
I think that's when they fully let it loose. They
Hmm.
ejac their stank. And I'm assuming when you get hit by a car, it's all coming out.
Yeah,
It's
the main cannon.
draining. Weird skunk lore, and I really felt a kinship. I really like loved that animal. It was so adorable, and it was cute. Our interaction of how like I was sort of like entrapping it, but in a benevolent way. Everyone kind of has that sympathy for the skunk because even as little kids, like ooh icky, like that's the
Hmm.
stinky animal. Well, it's a beautiful creature. It really is a
Public
magnificent,
enemy
beautiful.
number one,
Yeah.
if you care about what you smell like.
It's not going to gore you. It's just going to make you stinky. I think that's a pretty nice animal. I think that's a pretty good feature. You're going to be so stanky, you don't even want to do
My
anything.
superpower is making it so no one else wants to be around you.
Yeah, it's fucking cool. And I remember I felt that affinity with my He-Man guy, who was the skunk guy. There was one of the villains was a skunk guy, and he was made of scratch and sniff. So you would scratch the plastic
Oh,
action figure, and it would smell like actual skunk. And probably at the time, they actually had scientists like removing skunk scent glands and like in infusing the plastic with it. Like they probably used actual skunk in the creation of that action figure.
like a lot of animals were harmed.
So many.
Like I'm not gonna lie to you, there was a lot of harm.
Apparently, when there was that big movement in raspberry where raspberry became a hot flavor. You remember there was
Mm,
like vanilla became the flavor and then raspberry. Apparently, you get that flavor in part. A key ingredient is mustelid scent glands. It's like
mhm.
it's not. It might be skunk, but I think it was like beaver or something.
Yeah,
And they
beaver is a cherry.
yeah, cherry. That
They
when the
also
cherry
get
became huge.
artificial
Yeah.
cherry flavor from the pits or the stones of peaches, believe it or
I'll
not.
be damned. It's just like that disgusting scent is strong, nevertheless. And if it's blended in the right way, it can become delicious.
Like whale ambergris
Yeah.
in Ode de Perfume.
Yeah, it's that thing, with nature that's it's so impersonal in nature, because we're the personal creature. And
Hmm.
it's like whether it's stinky or not is entirely relative to whether you are, a predator of skunks. That's why they make a thing that stinks to predators of them. Like, hello, hello, goats, hello. Yeah. Oh, you're gonna look at me like that. You're gonna look at me. That's who. Fucking goat. Look at these goats. Whoa.